Today, Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar will speak on the topic of the global warming and its including factors. What are the global warming is there and the climate change with the global warming. Most of the information available on the global warming is subject to contradictions. Contradiction that lead to the differences in opinion between what and who is correct. As all reports on the global warming are not considered authentic, some are considered as emotional outbursts while some are regarded as good. Exchange of the dialogue, views and expectation in the context of the global warming gets metier and perhaps not just nations and their economy, but also affect the geographical, anthropological, sociological, and psychological systems and structure that exist today. Impacts of the global warming stand global. The World Health Organization, United Nations Environmental Program, and the World Meteorological Program observe that each year more than 150,000 people succumb on grounds associated or linked to the global warming. In recent years, nature has witnessed several disasters ranging from the floods in the Yugoslavia, Romania, Serbia, and Bulgaria to droughts in Sahel in the Africa, from hurricanes in United States of America to forest fires in diverse regions of the world such as Australia, Greece, Spain, Portugal, from melting of the Arctic glacier and Antarctica ice sheet to be melting of the permafrost. All such natural catastrophes leave profound impact on diverse components of nature. Loss of species, migration of the species, change in the breeding seasons of the animals, shift in the growing seasons of the plant, spread of disease such as chikungunya, malaria, and the encephalitis, violation of the human rights, etc., are some of the expression of such class catastrophes. Such damage and destruction encompassing the subject of the global warming poses certain pertinent questions before us, like are we are enduring such impacts due to current emissions of the greenhouse gases? Is it global warming that is responsible for such impacts? Is global warming an environmental change that had faced by the couch of the industrialization? Finally, if all the questions mentioned here in above are answered in the affirmative, what legal regime exists at the international national level to tackle such issues, and what else can be undertaken to resolve the said crisis? Definition of the term global warming. The Earth's climate continuously changes following a natural process. It is a consequence of such natural process that ice cold climate of the Earth become favorable for the evolution of the mankind. The solar energy that passes through the Earth's atmosphere is absorbed by the surface of the Earth, while a major portion of it is reflected into space. This process is continuously naturally would not have been disturbed the atmosphere of the Earth, and hence would not have been become a cause of the concern. However, with internationalization, overpopulation, land use change, deforestation, change in the lifestyle, the concentration of the different gases present in the atmosphere have undergone change. Some of such gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, methane, etc., create a partial blanket over the Earth's atmosphere and don't allow the outgoing infrared radiation to travel back into space. They in turn trap the infrared radiation and reflect them into Earth's atmosphere. This mechanism of trapping gases is mostly adopted in the greenhouses to take aid of the warmth generated from such gases in the quicker growth of the plants present therein. As the mechanism involved is similar to the what is deliberately done in the greenhouses, such effect in the Earth's atmosphere is known as a greenhouse effect. As a consequence of the greenhouse effect, the global mean temperature of the Earth increases. Such increase in temperature continues over a long period of time and is the main cause of the extensive warming of the planet, hence termed as global warming. This fallacy here is that the warming of the Earth is necessary to make it habitable, otherwise the Earth be big ball of the ice, non-conductive of their life, but such warming should be following the natural cycle. When the increase in the concentration of the greenhouse gases happen irrationally due to human-induced activity, the enhanced greenhouse effect occurs, hence global warming. The emission of the greenhouse gases has been on the rise since pre-industrial times, but such increase has become extensively rapid in recent times. But the advancement of science and technology, the increase in the burning of the fossil fuels and land use change. It may be observed here that the fourth assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change published in the 2007 has stated the increase in the global greenhouse gases been up to 70% and 74 and 206. Apart from the naturally occurring greenhouse gases, namely carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, there are certain other man-made greenhouse gases like chlorofluorocarbons (CFCs), perfluorocarbons (PFC), hydrofluorocarbon (SFC), and sulfur hexafluoride SF6. Increase in the concentration of such man-made gases further enhances the average temperature of the earth and causes the enhanced greenhouse effect. When the increase in the stock of the greenhouse gas goes beyond the carrying capacity or the assimilative capacity of the earth, there are certain over manifestation of the same through changes in the weather regime, and impacts are also observed on the diverse ecosystem of the globe. Global warming relation with the climate change. The synthesis report of the fourth assessment report on climate change published by the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change in 2007 clearly establishes that the fact that global warming is occurring at an alarming rate, which is observable from the increase in the average air temperature and ocean temperature, the widespread melting of the ice sheet, and rise in the sea level. The third assessment report, the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change, published in 2001, established the fact of the climate change and stated that it is beyond the normal. Climate change refers to the changes brought about in Earth's climate system over a wide period of time, taking place mainly by human intervention or more specifically human-induced global warming. Article 1 of the United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change defines climate change as a change which is attributable directly or indirectly to human activity that alters the composition of the global atmosphere, and which in addition natural climate variability be observed over comparable time periods. Interpretation of such definition implies the following: that human-induced activity are primarily responsible for the climate change, that climate change brings about a change in the composition of the global atmosphere, a change in the acceptable concentration of gases in the atmosphere, that it is not naturally induced. It is, however, to be kept in mind that all the impacts observed are not due to the current emission of the greenhouse gases, but a result of the cumulative impact of such emissions that have happened since the pre-industrial times. The temperature of the earth has already increased by 0.8 degrees centigrade since the industrial revolution. With the current trend of the global warming, it is expected that there would be a further increase of about 0.7 degrees centigrade. This means that in the recent future, there would be a total rise of about 1.5 degrees centigrade if we manage to arrest global warming today. Understanding the greenhouse gases. The major greenhouse gases traced till date include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, perfluorocarbon, chlorofluorocarbon, hydrofluorocarbon, etc. A deep understanding on these gases will help us in understanding the global warming in much better way. Carbon dioxide. Of all the greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide is regarded as the most significant contributor of the global warming. It is the increase in the concentration of the said gas that causes the maximum climate variability. Climate change. The pre-industrial concentration of the carbon dioxide was 280 parts per million ppm, while the said concentration rose to above 3 ppm in 1998. It has been projected with the current trend of increase in the concentration of the carbon dioxide gas, the concentration of the said gas will be anything close to the 500 ppm by the end of the 21st century. Out of the 6 major identified greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide has the highest lifespan of close to the 1,000 years. Of this, about half remains in the atmosphere for almost 100-year scenario. Carbon dioxide is generated through the multifarious activity ranging from plant and animal exhalation of volcanic eruption and the oceans, from decaying of the plants and animal body to the burnishing of the fossil fuel. It is said that most of the world's economy runs on the carbon, and hence with the burning of the fossil fuels, the concentration of the carbon dioxide is constantly being liberated. In industrialized nation, coal, petroleum and natural gas are responsible for carrying out the major portion of the industrial function, and hence the emission of the carbon dioxide is always on the rise. One of the other reasons for the increase in the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere is the change in the land use pattern, which are constantly happening either to provide land for the growing population or make out for the biofuel production, realizing the fact that while trying to reduce greenhouse gases, there is occurring an increase in the concentration of such gases. Number two is the methane CH4. Methane is the second most noteworthy contributor towards global warming. Being a hydrocarbon gas and having over 100 years lifespan, it is considered to be the 21 times more damaging than the carbon dioxide by weight, but its ability in the atmosphere is less compared to the carbon dioxide. Methane is very readily available from the manure of the domestic livestock. Again, while digesting the grass accumulated while grazing, the cattle exhale the poisonous gas methane. Methane is also a byproduct of the rice production and is found when organic matter decompose in the swamps. It is also obtained in guts of the termites and cut chewing animals. It has been observed that with each year passing, the concentration of methane in the atmosphere is growing by about 1%. It has been observed in the synthesis report of the fourth assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change published in 2007 that the atmospheric concentration of the carbon dioxide has increased to the 379 ppm in 2005, while concentration of the methane has shot up 1774 parts per billion ppb in the same year. Such increase bypass the natural range of such gases over the last 650,000 per year. Nitrous oxide. It is also another powerful greenhouse gases that is liberated into the atmosphere through practices adopted in the soil cultivation, especially when organic pesticide and fertilizer are used in farming activity. Biomass burning and fossil fuel combustion also increase the concentration of the nitrous oxide in the atmosphere. The pre-industrial concentration of the nitrous oxide in the atmosphere was found 0.2 parts per million by volume, which stealthy region to 0.3 parts per million by volume in 1990, having the atmospheric lifespan of the 114 years. Nitrous oxide once generated has global warming potential of the 298 for a 100-year time horizon. Next gas is the chlorofluorocarbons, CFC. These are the synthetic compounds having industrial origin and had huge usage as the refrigerant coolants. At present, their production and release is highly regulated by the international protocol and national legislation, as it has been scientifically proved that the chlorofluorocarbons make significant contribution in damaging the ozone layer of the atmosphere, thereby leading to skin cancer. Perfluorocarbons, PFC, aluminum and semiconductor chip manufacturing has led to the performance of the fluorocarbons as a major greenhouse gas. Their atmospheric lifespan is quite high, and in context of the climate change, the major perfluorocarbons include perfluoromethane and perfluoroethane. Soluble perfluoroethane include the oxygenated fluorocarbons, which are strongly present in the ocean environment. Although the atmospheric concentration of the perfluoromethane is around 1 lakh times lower than the carbon dioxide, the radiating forcing of the perfluorocarbon is much H1 500 of the radiative forces due to the carbon dioxide, with the consequences of being generated about the perfluorocarbon. The concentration of the atmospheric perfluorocarbons has reduced, but the oxygenated perfluorocarbons has been found to be present in the living tissue of the humans, rodent, and dolphins, etc. The oxygenated perfluorocarbons have carcinogenic effects on the human health, and hence their emission is necessary to be regulated. Hydrofluorocarbons HFC, while perfluorocarbons and sulfur hexafluoride have atmospheric lifespan reaching to the century. The atmospheric lifespan of the hydrofluorocarbons are several decades. However, their ability to absorb infrared radiation is quite higher and is such quality that makes it recognized as a major greenhouse gases. As the hydrofluorocarbons don't contain ozone destroying chlorine or bromine atoms which deplete the ozone layer, they are used as a refrigerant. As in the air, condensation continue to rise, having the positive quality of protecting the ozone layer. It is recent times in the developing world has increased tremendously. Projection reveal that by the year 2050, the use of the hydrocarbons will be 8 times more in the developing country as did in the developed country. And the said emissions are likely to warm planet similar 5 to million billion tons of the carbon dioxide. Next seventh gas is the sulfur hexafluoride, SFC. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change, sulfur hexafluoride is a potent greenhouse gas whose global warming potential 29,900 times more than that of the carbon dioxide over 100 years spans of the time. Having excellent dielectric properties, sulfur hexafluoride is used for insulation in electric power transmission equipment and in the semiconductor manufacturing industries. It is also used as a tracer of gas leak detection. The sinks available for sulfur of the hexafluoride are minimal, and hence sources for its accumulation include all man-made sources. Although sulfur hexafluoride is itself non-toxic, it decomposes under the electric stress and thereby produces toxic byproducts. Present records determine that globally there has occurred a steep increase in the carbon dioxide gas emission from fossil fuels, approximately 20.39 billion metric tons in the 1990, the benchmark year since when emission cuts began to be measured, to 20.97 billion metric ton gigaton in 1997, the year when the Kyoto Protocol was enacted, to approximately 26.4 billion metric ton every year during the 2000 to 2005, and finally reaching to the 28.9 billion metric ton in 2005. When the Kyoto Protocol was brought into force, the question that automatically crops in our mind after hearing all such qualitative amounts is that why then it has taken so long for the environment to react to such high concentration of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This is due to the fact that the oceans are much cooler than the atmosphere, and the thermal capacity of the water in the ocean is much higher than the atmosphere. Further, the carbon dioxide stands dissolved in the oceans, and such dissolved carbon dioxide does not have the ability to trap the sunlight and cause global warming. On account of such features, it takes quite some time to warm and reveal itself through impacts. Observing an emissions, it may be stated that the most of the human-induced emissions warm the planet as they don't allow the long-wave radiations to have Earth and radiate back into the space. The expectation of this list, however, include the aerosols such as organic carbon, soot, sulfates, etc., and water vapor, which in turn forms cloud and shower rains, which cool the planet by blocking the sunlight, causes responsible for the global warming. The cumulative ones of such stupendous and sharp increase in the emission of the greenhouse gases is singly borne by the human alone, for it is humans who have contributed towards the means only to upload their selfish wants and desire. Discussing on the major ways in which the humans have aggregated the issues, it can be said that the major source to be blamed for such high increase in the greenhouse gas emission include the power sector, industry, and the transport sector, respectively. The contribution of the agriculture sector towards the occurrence of the global warming cannot also be ignored, considering the fact that the agriculture contributes 14% of the problem. A percentage share similar to that made by the transport sector. In most cases, the contribution of the agriculture as a predominant source of the global warming stands very less highlighted on account of its prominent utility in feeding the masses and tackling the food insecurity and also generating livelihood nations. Another important source responsible for the emission of the large concentration of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is the land use pattern change. It would be pertinent to mention that in this context that the change in the land usage has a contribution of 18% towards the enhancement of the greenhouse gases. With peat fires, peat decay, deforestation, and burning, the decay of the biomass occurring worldwide. In Brazil, for instance, between the years 1919 to 2005, there has occurred continuous carbon dioxide emission in the extent of the 1.11 billion tons every year due to the deforestation. The other instance that would be relevant to cite in this context in the case of the Indonesia, where the total emissions per year for the same period was as high as 2.7 million on the account of deforestation, engineered delivery to create the land space for the growth of the biofuels. Natural factors have continued to warm the planet even prior to the industrial evolution. Also, even prior to the when humans had their presence felt on the earth, the geological records reveal that such natural warming and cooling is 1500 year cycle which began at least 1 million years ago. The last 100 years has noticed warming of the planet, and scientists are of the view that such warming is a recovery trend from the little ice age. There are several natural factors responsible for causing global warming. The most prominent ones being the solar variability, continental drift, changes in the Earth's orbit, volcanic eruption, increase in the temperature of the ocean, plant and animal exhalation, and the natural decomposition process. Solar activity, for instance, is attended by the increase of the solar wind, which shields the Earth from the cosmic rays. As a consequence, the cosmic rays are not able to play a meaningful role and help in the cloud formation. Thus, when the sun's activity is stronger, there is a decrease in the formation of the low altitude clouds. Non-cloud formation always more sun's rays to reach the Earth's surface and thereby increase in the temperature occurs. It is a human-induced global warming that holds the real responsibility for the stupendous increase in the concentration of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. There are multifarious factors accountable for the same. The most noteworthy being the burgeoning overpopulation. Latest reports on the world population mention that the current population of the world is more than 700 billion, with India housing more than 120 billion people. Thomas L. Frieden, in this book, How Hot, Flat, and Crowded, has explained the present scenario in a very lucid manner when he says it is getting hot, flat, crowded, that is global warming, the stunning rise of the middle classes all over the world, and rapid population growth have converged in a way that could make our planet dangerously unstable. In particular, the convergence of the hot, flat, and crowded is tightening energy supply, identifying the extinction of the planet and elements, deepening energy poverty, strengthening periodic dictatorship, and the escalating climate change. Resources have become limited to meet the requirement of such masses of the population, which has in turn confronted land use pattern to meet their social security needs. Migration of the people, either in the name of the urban prosperity or being forced upon to the displaced as a consequence of the development projects, have both contributed to the change in the land pattern. Along with change of the agricultural lands or urban settlement and industrial projects, forests have been cleaned in major parts of the global either to serve the requirement of timber or non-timber forest produce or to engage the areas with more productive farming, namely biofuel production. Sometimes, however, felling of the trees has been continued insistently, either with the convenience of the forest officials or without them in loop to meet other selfish motives. As a consequence of the overfilling of trees, the carbon sinks that are present in the forest have shrunk, thereby exposing us to further concentrate of the carbon dioxide. It can be said that the unsustainable ecological resource management is one of the major factors that induces global warming. The burning of the fossil fuels to meet the demands of the industrialization, the emission from the transport sector and the domestic sector continues unabated and hence account for the further global warming. The burning of coal and oil complemented with the natural gas has assisted in mankind in the generation of wealth and prosperity, but also aid in their destruction by enhancing climate change. The global warming here is to stay is for sure, but still debate continues as to whether it is naturally caused or human induced. Although the Human Development Report of the 2007-2008 published by the United Nations Development Programme holds that there exists 90% probability that global warming at the enhanced rate as it occurs in the present day is the human induced. There exists an opponent view on the subject which holds that the global warming is continuing, but it is not human induced. Such view opposes the findings of the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change on the ground that most of the panelists of the said panel lack the required scientific qualification. Also, the intergovernmental panels on the finding have questioned by their own certainty on the grounds of the questionable scientific models being floated for the proclaim of the global warming. The other submission made resolves around the fact that theoretically the rate of the global warming observed around the tropics should be logically higher, with the maximum being at 6 miles just before above the Earth's surface. This is, however, not true in reality. According to the critics of the human-induced global warming, balloon borne radio sounds revealed that there is rather a slight reduction in the temperature over the equator, highlighting the said opposite stand. They firmly believe that the natural causes of the global warming had operated in the past and will continue to do so in the future. Hence, the regulation of the carbon dioxide emission is pointless. They further highlight the positive outcomes of the warmer climate and more carbon dioxide and observe that such climate is beneficial to a certain extent as it enhances the agricultural productivity. It has been observed that a slight increase in the concentration of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere would yield beneficial outcomes of countries such as Canada, Russia, Mongolia, and parts of the North Europe as their agriculture productivity will be enhanced. Under the present backdrop, what remains permanently present in that global warming is happening that is likely to continue in the near future at even higher rates if the present trends of the human-induced global warming are not regulated. The Human Development Report of the 2007 and 8 further states that the greenhouse stocks are likely to increase by 4-5% per million each year till the year 2035. If current trends of the emission continue, this means that the accumulated stock of the will increase to exact 5 parts per million, which will in turn by anything close to the 800 parts per million by the end of the 21st century. It therefore becomes crystal clear that the sooner we are able to cut down such emissions, the larger global warming will occur and its impact on the future will also automatically stand reduced. Impacts of the global warming enhances global warming. It is not only the greenhouse gases that contributes towards the global warming. Apart from the emission discussed herein above, the warming of the earth itself is also responsible for generating effects that lead to further warming. As the ice sheet melts, the melt water gets formed. The melt water is darker than the ice and hence absorb more heat, thus resulting in the further warming. One of the foremost reasons for the speedy meltdown of the ice sheets of the Greenland and Antarctica is due to such effect. Further, with the passage of the time, the capacity of the ocean to absorb emission reduces. The other impact of the global warming, which further enhances global warming, is the increase in the global temperature. With the rise in the temperature, metabolic process get enhanced and allow the carbon dioxide in the soil to escape. This in turn increases the concentration of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which accelerates the process of the global warming. Human aspirations and development patterns are responsible for global warming, but when the manifestation of the global warming occur, the same is beyond the human comprehension and the control. Hence, in the discussion on the global warming scenario, two important points should be kept in mind are firstly, it is immaterial where the emissions have occurred for the global warming impacts do not get determined and limited to the geographical boundaries and limitations. And secondly, half of the emissions are supposed to be absorbed by the oceans and forests, which acts as a carbon link. With the acceleration in the rate of the global warming and the rate at which the deforestation continues, the number of carbon sinks is sharply reducing. As also the capacity of the oceans to absorb carbon dioxide is also getting reduced. Therefore, ineffective throat assessment of the present global situation is necessary to undertake of the human or offloading trait of the humanity. Objective of this study, they all encompassing existence of global warming is not subject to many questions. Today, what stands noticeable as a subject matter of question of the fact is the underneathing the existing direct visible impacts about the global warming and then matching them with future projection on the issue. This is necessary to commence at the earliest to assess the future of the planet. The subject of the global warming has therefore to be gauged from climate change that has happened or likely to happen in the future. There exists diverse and indirect method to measure the climate change. The direct method to measure climate change include the use of the particular instrument to take regular instruments, record of the temperature, wind, sea level, participation on a theoretical basis. Since the early 19th century, while the indirect methods refer to the measurements taken using the climate indicators from the volumetric records, such as from the tree rings, the study of the corals, understanding of the ice cores, and through borehole measurement. All such measurements indicate that since 750, the percentage increase in the concentration of particular greenhouse gases has been quite magnificent. While carbon dioxide concentration has increased 35% more since the pre-industrial level, the increase in the methane and nitrous oxide concentration has been around 153% and higher, 18% higher. All such evidences highlight a comparative analysis of past and present visible changes with the future projection is to be initiated on different parameters of the climate and the diverse ecosystems to be certain on the ground dimension of the global warming. The objective of the present study is to issue the certain the finding of the present manifestation of the climate change impact and that of the future direction to bring out the socio-political impact of the climate change on the entire world community and more especially upon India. Through such study, the significance is to analyze and create a uniform framework of operation to deal with the global warming. Issues and the problem. Differences exist in the topography, geographical position, economical sustenance, lifestyles of the peoples of the different country. Hence, the limitation of the country exists dependent on their capability and unique positioning. It is such differences that finally lead to the emergence of issue in dealing with any global issue of the concern. In attempting to assess the impact of the global warming, what is the sought to be established in the fact that the issue of the global warming transpires as a modern environmental problem, though we can trace its existence since 75 onwards. The modernization in the global warming can be detected under two counts. One, in the manner in which the impacts the manifested can be addressed, and the two, the modern independent touch inflicted by various nations across the globe in dealing with such continuous issues. The risks from extreme climate events are undoubtedly necessary to be addressed through global, concentrated, unified actions, but the continuous issue of discussion is the fact whether such concentrated, unified action is possible to be undertaken in a economically, politically, and ideologically divided world. Hypothesis of the study. The occurrence of the global warming cannot be questioned in the 21st century. Deliberations are regularly counting between the developed, developing, and the least developed economy to find solution to take global warming without hampering their reactive priority and their respective capability. What can become the area of the closure is the question whether it is possible to tackle the socio-economic problem of the global warming in a unified manner which is globally acceptable. The present research study attempt to discuss on the state issue and endeavor to arrive at the productive and positive conclusion to deal with the continuous issue of the global warming. Research methodology. The title of the research work is a reflection of the very purpose and research study. This research study is basically concerned with the analysis of the legal framework on global warming, both at the national and international level. It attempts to showcase the changes that have been proposed to be undertaken at the international and the national level, and the objective of proposing such changes in place of the more prospective alternatives with sustainable futures. The SAD study further attempts to highlight whether there is the need for an alternative system of environmental governance to tackle the issue of the global warming at the international level, and if so, what should be the legislative strength of such governing authority. The study of global warming is undertaken by analyzing the diverse impact of the climate change with the future projection to arrive at an understanding of the existence and the expansiveness of the problem. In attempting to understand the same, literature review of the article from books, journals, magazines, new reports, and web references have been done, and the practical existence of the problem has been further grounded by analyzing the diverse legal documents on the issue. The assistance has also been taken from law journals, study of the international relation documents, case law references, periodicals, and resolution of the United Nations. Furthermore, the library research and books on the contemporary environmental issues and on globalization related or associated on the subject matter have also been used for the research. In understanding the issue involved, secondary data has played an integral role as a most informative obtained has been gathered from the legal and non-legal documents pertaining to global warming and the climate change. Limitation of the study. An in-depth study has been undertaken to reveal the political clouds that exist in the world related to the issue of the global warming. However, in undertaking such a study, proper explanation of the particular facts could not be provided due to lack of the relevant information on the said issue. For instance, the relevant information on the quantified usage of the water in the developing economy prior to the initiation of developmental activity and post-developmental activity is not available. Hence, substantive understanding on the said issue is not possible to be given. Organization of this study. The entire thesis research work has been suggested into 7 chapters, including the present introductory chapter, conclusion research, brief outline of the study are as follows. Chapter 1, Introduction to the Global Warming, its introducing factors. This chapter outlines the global warming and introduces the relevance of the global warming and the climate change. Chapter 2, the chapter 2 objects the present impacts of the climate change and highlights the future projection of the climate change. Chapter 3, legal problem and issue. This chapter focuses on the legal issues and problems associated with the global warming and thereby act as a foundation on which further discussion proceeds in the forthcoming chapter. Chapter 4, International Legal Framework of Action, Resist Global Warming and in-depth study. The existing legal framework both within the aegis of the United Nations and outside is established to deal with the global warming is the subject matter of discussion in this chapter. It also analyzes the said framework to highlight the loopholes existing in the such framework. Chapter 5, National Legal Measure to Combat Global Warming, a necessary initiative. The national legal framework to tackle the problem of the global warming is evaluated in the present chapter. Emphasis has been laid to highlight the legal scenario from the stage of the planning to the stage of the implementation, followed by the interpretation of the said laws made by the judiciary in this regard. An analysis of the entire legal framework of the India bring out an interesting shade in the study of the environmental law and more especially in the study of the global warming. Chapter 6, Public Involvement in Combating Global Warming. Enhancement of laws merely cannot help in tackling the continuous issues of the global warming. The present chapter emphasizes on the role of the public participation in helping to combat climate change and discuss the different mechanisms that are operative to establish public participation in the domain of the global warming. Thanking you with best wishes.